just like my plants, especially in a dark circle right now. I just brought one home. Literally didn't even get it out of the acclimation bowl. Dropped him right on the concrete. Splat. How he's not dead, I have no freaking idea. But he's got big red spots all over him. So I'm not really too convinced that the poor thing's gonna live till the end of tonight. In fact, she just kind of she just hiding back here, right there. She's normally you shine a spotlight on a goldfish, they take off like their life is over. This one's definitely hurting. You can see red spots. She's got a really bad red spot right on her front dorsal fin there. Yeah. Didn't even get her into the tank yet. Dropped her on the damn floor. Well, she flipped out. They usually don't do that. They're usually pretty mellow. She kind of surprised me with her sudden flipping and flopping, and I lost her. Splat! It was actually right here. And it's pretty high, too. I mean, she didn't even catch the rug or nothing. It's right to the concrete. I thought for sure she wasn't even going to be moving. She's hanging in there, but I doubt she's going to make it. I am the worst. That's why I don't have kids. I don't know if you ever heard the old story of when I bought like 22 of the cutest Oranda goldfish off of eBay for like 120 bucks. They're normally like 20, 30 bucks a piece, but they were microscopically small, just tiny. I remember their heads were smaller than a pushpin head. I had a wooden airplane model going when they arrived, and I had a bunch of these push pins out. I remember saying that thing's like twice as big as these fishes' heads. So I had like 20, I think it was 22. Maybe 4 of them got sucked up into the effing filter because they were so little. That upset me. That's when I started doing head counts like every half an hour. And then I put filter floss all around the intake of said filter pump so that it can't suck in anymore. The thing slipped off. I didn't have it on there correctly. It popped off, sucked in another 3. Those ones I didn't notice right away. They were packed in there, all 3 of them, just dust. And that same group I lost. I don't know where the hell it went. It just disappeared. 2 of them. I was doing a water change or something, and I must have sucked them in and didn't even notice it. I had, in a different batch, had left them in the net. Didn't realize they were in the corner of the net. Just threw the net on the counter and walked away, you know. I lost 2 of them that way. So now I'm like insane. I hardly even use the net, but I like quadruple check it every time. Same thing with water changes. I can't stop checking them. Then the coup de grace. I'm using equipment from like the 1990s, and it was winter time, so I dug out this old ass heater. I completely cooked, like 18 of them all at once. They were all dust. There was no chance at all. They were still alive when I noticed, but they were like bleeding super heavily out of their gills, every one of them. I'm like, what in the fuck is happening right now? And then when I stuck my hand in there, it was like 100 degrees. And I lost every single one of them. That one made me so mad I was like sick to my stomach for like 2 full weeks. I was pissed. I was so mad at myself. Then I also threw a punch at my concrete floor, fucked my hand up real bad. Smart. But I just can't help but thinking now, when I get one, I am so careful, especially like acclimating them with the different temperature and the different water qualities. I do it real slow and careful. And then I dropped the goddamn thing on its head from 6 feet in the air. Ugh, I am the worst. I am the worst. The goldfish are right. I suck. But just cleaning up. I got the meter man's got to come and read my yearly meter. So I had to clean. I've been cleaning for like 3 days down here. I dug into something so cool. This is 86-year-old wooden ship model. I don't know why it's stunning to me that it's that old. I have no idea why that enamors me in such delight, but it does. I picked it up a super long time ago at a garage sale for fairly, well, it was a long time ago. It was like 30-40 bucks, which is probably like 75-80 bucks these days. Still a good deal. I see them like every now and then on eBay for anywhere from like 150 bucks and up. I'll never build it, but I never looked through it. You know, I never really took the time and actually look through this whole thing. And when I saw these today, I was cleaning up and I just kind of peeked in there. I was talking to my buddy who's building a wooden ship as we speak, and I tried to see if you might want to buy this. But when I was taking pictures, I'm like, look at these blueprints, man. These are a trip. And being so old, they're way, way different than the ones that I'm used to seeing. In fact, generally they're actual size, and they put them in such a way, these blueprints, that if you were to mess a piece up, lose a piece, break a piece, you can make a new one out of what's being shown on this print. I've never once opened these up. I've had this thing probably for like 28, 30 years or something. Never once unfolded these and looked at them. Probably gonna wreck it. Probably gonna turn into powder and disintegrate when I try and open it up. This is very blueprint-like. Oh, 1940. I saw a date that was 1938 on the one thing. That's why I thought it was a little bit older. Deck plan, inboard profile. I know some of these wooden model boats are so detailed. They come with like thousands and thousands of these like dead eyes for the rigging. It's like, I don't know how anybody can do that. I really don't. They say you should never, as a beginner, just jump into something that detailed. You know, start off real small, work your way into that. Naturally, most people don't do that. Get a $400 expert ship model for the first one you ever build. 10 minutes into it, you're ready to smash it with a hammer and you never touch it again. Plan of standing rigging. I bet it is exercise. Oh shit, I got plugged in. This phone sucks. I just one jack. You're either charging or you're on earphones. Can't do both. Newest state-of-the-art phone in the market. But my fucking track flip phone, I could charge and have it earbuds or a microphone, but not this one.
Oh, a viewer too, even. I got a viewer. I'm not completely user. Get you in there so you can actually see what the hell I'm looking at and what I'm doing. You dunce. Dumb son of a bitch. Zero. Oh, back to two. I can fluctuate a lot. Somewhere in a spool of thread, and you'll be having to make every single one of these lines yourself, every last one of them, and trying to get this rigging all correct. And when you look at it closely, it is friggin' nuts. The rigging is just, it's crazy. It goes every which way. It took forever to get it to where you can understand what the hell you're supposed to do. Generally speaking, wooden ship models are notoriously the worst with instructions. They have the worst, the vaguest, most shittiest written instructions of every model. This is a little bit more modern. This looks like it's got 80s and 90s written all over it. The dinghy. This is a bit more modern. Consider yourself lucky. I was going to show you my dinghy, but I can't find it. Here's the plans to another vintage model sailboat. Incredibly vague. In fact, there's not even any instructions. This is it. A bunch of drawings and numbers. Not one written instruction. But it shows you how to rig and do the dead eyes and all that. But we got the ribs and the keel. collecting these things for years. Never put them together. I suck at building models so bad. Turns out it's really just the plastic ones that I suck at, especially the really little ones. I fucking hate those. But I started doing wooden airplane models, and those instructions are super accurate and very easy to follow. And in fact, you use the instructions and build right on them. It's really pretty cool. So after doing a bunch of them, and of course I messed up, like the first 5 of them were just total shit. But then I got the hang of it. You whip one together super quick and it comes out nice. But then I started doing boats, wooden boats. There's a lot on Amazon and eBay that I found some that were like $7. So I got like 6 of them for the same model. Back when I was living high in the hog. We had like 75 or more in airplane models. Probably like 20 wooden boats. I just started putting them together maybe a year ago. But I'm about halfway. I have no options without instructions and everything. This one's so rare too, there's not one single video of it. Pilot boat, the Swift. Some of these model companies use like real top line wood like mahogany and a bunch of brass detail and shit. Got a whole bunch of different ones like this, tons of them, all different sizes, but I never build them. I just did 2 of them recently. I wanted to try and turn them into a remote control sailboat. Ever complex looking. Holy shit. Prime example, lackluster instructions. A lot of it I had to do off the pictures and the pictures and the instructions. This is all the whole thing. There's some written and some diagrams and nothing else. But for example, I'm like, how do they attach all this line to the sail? And it doesn't even show it in the instructions. But look really closely at the picture, it's like wrapped, it's coiled all the way around, both along the mast and the frizzen, or whatever the fucking thing's called. So the sail didn't have no holes in it. I'm like, how the hell did they do that? I don't know. I gave up on it for like a day or two or a week or a month, I can't remember. And then I was like, oh, I'll punch my own holes in the stupid sail, which I didn't want to do, but I didn't know how else to do it. And actually took my time and sent it all through, followed the instructions to a T with all the stupid rigging. That was just one example of what it didn't even make sense to look at it. Zero instruction on how to do that. Built 3/4 of a mile from the pictures. Maybe that's the idea. Big expander. Big hunk of wood. I have no idea what kind of wood this even is. I don't believe I've ever seen wood like this before. This thing's nuts. This thing's so crazy. I could never do that. Hog out a boat shape out of a slab of wood like that. There's no possible way in God's green earth for all the money to that would I get something that would even resemble a fucking boat. Pretty hefty too. Pretty substantial. Some of the detailed shit. Back in my day, we put lead toys, lead soldiers, lead cars and tanks and trucks. This is probably asbestos. Big stack of hundreds that I never knew were in there. I lose hundreds, I don't find them. Simple, basic. People lifeboats. This is fucking as basic as it gets. But this is just certain stuff. There's a bunch of other shit. This is all. It smells really good. Wish I could explain the smell. It doesn't smell old. Smells like a rich person's house or something. I can't explain it. It smells really, really good. If you know what a rich person's house smells like. Nautical Research Guild. If you were interested in men, that's the first line. That's a little bit sus. Ships and the sea. interested in joining our club, do you like dudes? It's not a photocopy, I don't think. There's a lot of detail. There's a lot going on with all that. Each one of those got like 3 holes and got thread them all this way. Call them dead eyes. Got a big old stack of them somewhere. So cannons and winch parts and little microscopic little cannons and stuff. Anchors. Here's the fucking dead eyes. Look how little they are. Holy shit, I'd have a seizure trying to fucking thread that? Are you kidding me? Believe it or not, there's 3 little holes in each one of these little chicken nugget out of my fucking front tooth-sized pieces. Get bigger shit than that car in my teeth. Usually shit's real fucking delicate and fragile when it's that small. I don't know how you'd even get a piece of thread through there. There's no way. There's no way. Let's see it don't spray it. Oh, these are metal. These are metal dead eyes. Look at how many of these you have to do. Probably 200 of them there. Probably 100 of them there. Little brass details. I don't know what that is. Iridium string. Piece of wax. Hey, it's the thread needle. Smart. These are like the smallest little push pins I've ever seen. I'm going to step on them for the next 2 weeks, but that's okay. Small price to pay for glory. They're fucking not magnetic. They must be stainless steel or something. Not ferrous. Not magnetic. It's a higher quality metal. Erosion resistant. It's so old, it's disintegrated in my hand. These things are fucking tiny. I can't really even pick them up. I can't even feel them in my fingertips. Oh shit, I just dropped a couple. Close to the dog howler. Let me drop a whole bunch of microscopic needles on the ground. That's alright. With the afternoon back over. Bending over. Is the decking, the decorated boat. Ooh, they come with its own stand. No model boats usually come with their own stand. Like that make your own. The romance of ships and sea with historic guns from Marine Model Company. Halcite Long Island. I've never heard of it. Halcite Long Island. Oh, it's like a catalog. Cool. The marine model kit which you just purchased is indicative of the distinctive quality in each kit we produce. Only metal or wood materials are used in the manufacture of its miniature components. We are certain that you will find, as so many others have, that your recreated scale model will become a center of enjoyment and inspiration before you flip yourself off the roof right on your head. Its meticulous detail and authenticity make it a heirloom piece of worth and beauty. Look at this glass display case. Congratulations on your selection. There are many selections too, as you will see in the following pages. That's about my speed. Viking shit. Fucking zero? Doing all this for zero? Oh. Seagoing tugboat, that looks really cool. Slaver. You know this fucking thing is old if they got a boat called the Slaver. Holy shit. Lowering shit to Charles Morgan. That thing is crazy. Ooh, guns even. Build us a cannon. Smoothbore deck cannon. Yeah, that's so cool looking. 10C motor. I want to get that. USS Gearing. That's a little warship. That's so sweet looking. Submarine USS Trigger. Bomb Kitch. The frigate Constitution, old iron size. I wonder if that's the premier model. It's got different base. I bet it is. That's the premier model. Look at all that rigging. Holy shit. There's probably over 1,000 different strands. This is nice. Very cool. I think I've actually heard of that one. Types list. They're disintegrating in the dust in my hand here. 137 hard eyes, 44 bull eyes, 843 saddles, 836 medium, 843 small, 760. That's a lot. Oh, that's the part number, not the quantity. Here's the quantity, 108, 20, 32 deck guns. Crazy. This is like the written instructions. Not a lot of people can make a square hole like this. I can't. It's pretty complex. Start one. That's all the steps to make one. You can look like people. Where to go? Just disintegrate? It's all written instructions. A glossary of nautical terminology. Cool. I've never heard of any of this shit. A fair weather. An eyebrow, an entrance. Ooh. Hey, booby, nice entrance. Halyard. I never knew what a halyard was. One of my models called for a halyard. I didn't know what the fuck it was. I couldn't even find what it was online. Gangway. The opening for entering and leaving a vessel, known as the gangway. Dolphin striker. For striking a dolphin. Lubber's hole. Lubber? What's a lubber? The opening on a top platform to clear the shrouds and running rigging that comes down alongside the mast. Sailors never climb through the lubbers. Knighthead. Vertical post near the bow. Keel, jib boom. Jaw. Jackstay. Small iron rods on top of a yard to which the sails are fastened. Hounds. Look at us, your hawser. The hawser reel. Honey, let me have a look at your hawser. Hawse pipe. The pipe running in board from each bow through which anchor cable passes. Okay. Gypsy head. A niggerhead. It actually says a niggerhead with whelps or splines to give it better grip on the line. A line or purchase used to study a boom. A guideline for Gudgeon? Gooseneck? Look at this. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen. I'm so old, nobody uses these terms. Probably half of these are totally defunct. Footstock stave, footstock shroud, the 4 foot forecastle, I've heard of a forecastle, the Flemish horse, the short foot roped at the extremity of a yard. What? Pfefferel. The eyebrow, a small piece of gut or shaped metal fastened above the port to keep rain out. Combing, vertical construction similar to bulwarks around deck openings, hatches, and cockpits. Cock. Charlie Noble. The galley, smoke pipe, or chimney. I never heard of that. A Charlie Noble. Bumpkin. What's a bumpkin? A strut projecting from the hull to take certain running rigging. Bobstay. The stay from the bowsprit to the tip of the stern to the cutwater. Bentic shroud. Belfry. Belaying pin. Bee seat. Beckett. It's probably the most boring thing I've ever seen in my life. Whisker boom. Spar protecting the bowsprit cap. P.S. to spread the jib boom stays. Wow, nice whisker boom. Tumble home. The slope inward of a hull side from the waterline to the deck. Train tackle. The purchase to haul a gun inboard for cleaning and reloading. Taffrail. Spreader. Sponson. Spring stave. Spencer mast. I have never heard of any of this shit. Spanker. A fucking spanker. The fore and aft sail after the mast. Huh, I've never heard of spanker. Sampson post. Saddle. A block on the after side of a yard shaped to fit a mast. What the fuck is a yard? A thwart ship spar? I can't even say that. Thwart ship spar from which a square sail is set. What the fuck? The martingale. Mizzen mast, the monkey rail, the niggerhead. I knew there was going to be something in there. It actually says it too. That is literally, that's not Niger. That's a fucking niggerhead. A small drum-like fitting on the end of a winch shaft or set in the rail similar to a capstan. Poop, the raised deck of a vessel. It's a capstan. I know what it is. I don't see the definition as well. Capstan, an upright cylinder mounted on the deck used to haul up the anchor and get a strong pull on a line. I can't believe this has nigger in there twice. The nigger history right there. Tour of an 80-year-old model boat. Yeah, it was worth 40,000, but since you put tape on the box, it's worth $10. Right. Four-year-old would have seen that. There you go. Shred the marks. left. I do. see them sort of. The unhatched eggs are kind of swirling around in a circle. The ones that are hatched are the things that are jetting up and down. Sort of see it.
running as fast as he can. The other guard stands up, starts shooting him there, but only for a second, because after the first couple of bullets, which missed, the driver ends up slamming on the brakes. He hears gunfire, not knowing what's going on, ends up knocking the guard down, and gives Romero enough time to make it to the corner and turn it so he's not in their direct line of sight. From here, he just keeps running as fast as he can, taking every single corner, every back alley, trying to lose the turns. After a couple miles, he hasn't heard the truck behind him in a while, and he's finally starting to think to himself, okay, cool, I managed to lose that truck. He turns one more corner and runs smack dab into a Nazi headquarters building. At this point, he's like, fuck, what do I do? Because if I turn around and run the other way, that's going to look suspicious. There's guards in front of this place. Okay, I'm just going to play it cool. Stops running, starts walking at them and pretending like he's supposed to be there. The problem is, he's still wearing his clothes from 4 months ago. He was captured. He's got a beard. He looks like shit. He smells terrible. Whatever, we just got to roll with it. He keeps walking towards this Nazi headquarters building and goes to walk right past it. And right at the main gate, there's this big fancy Nazi limo with little Nazi swastika flags on the side. And he kind of looks inside of it. There's keys inside the limo. Looks across the street. The driver is clearly waiting for somebody. He's smoking a cigarette right across from the limo. And he's like, fuck it. Jumps in the limo, turns the key, peels out. The driver across the street pulls out a pistol, starts shooting at the car, doesn't do any real damage. He turns a corner. He's doing the same thing now, but inside of the car, just speeding off, taking corner after corner, not knowing where to go, not knowing what to do. And then he sees a sign, Paris, that way. And he's like, okay, well, at least I know people in Paris. So that's where he goes. Makes it to the outskirts of town, runs and face first into a Nazi distracted. Makes his way back to Brickwood. On April 29, 1944, the British launched a massive bombing campaign on the French munitions factory that was building ammo for the Nazis, and they bombed the holy hell out of it, but it's only down for about a week before they start producing ammunition again. At this point, the British are like, okay, a couple of options, we can bomb it again. I mean, bombs are effective, but they're not like capable and accurate. We're not going to be able to go in there and find out where the most important parts of this factory are and target those specifically. We're just kind of like trying to blow the whole thing to hell. But the downside is it's really risky. You're running planes, all the soldiers' lives at risk. It's a big deal. So we can also just have a saboteur go in there and point a couple of things and take this factory out of the mission. That's what they decide to do. They pop up the Russian code. He jumps back into France, and now he is tasked with taking out this munitions plant. The only problem, it's not the French resistance waiting for him in the drop zone. Somehow, it's the Germans, and they ambush him and capture him almost immediately. They told him that they tried to take him to some house. They started interrogating him. After a little while, he hears a bunch of trucks pull up outside. He's like, I'm great. The Nazis are here to take me to a real prison where I'm going to get tortured all over again. And then the whole house just starts getting lit up with machine gun fire. He gets the Americans come in with guns, kill all the Germans. It was the French resistance that was supposed to be in there originally. They went out there, got the guns, came back for him, and then killed all the Nazis. At which point he's like, great, perfect, wonderful. Okay, now back to this munitions plant. He wakes up with the resistance. They start talking it. They case the place. This munitions plant is absolutely massive. Every single worker that goes in there has their papers checked, going in and coming out, every single thing. This is not going to be easy. He has to figure out how to get fake papers for this plant. He has to figure out how he's going to smuggle in all the explosives, and he's going to have to figure out how he's going to get out once the explosives go off. So they go out. They end up finding a bunch of the maintenance crew for this factory, and he thinks that they don't. These other guys actual ideas to make fake ideas for American war resistance fighters. And as it there's not much how to sabotage stuff, and the maintenance guys know much of how the factory actually works and what's important. They come together to figure out which targets are going to hit, mainly water mains and electrical loops. Then they got to figure out how they're going to get the explosives inside the factory, so they haul them up their shoes, and they're going to smuggle explosives in their shoes. So they load their shoes up with explosives. Next day, they show up to work, they all kind of stagger on this line. And like I said, this factory is huge. There's over 5,000 employees, right? There's only like one checker. This is the dude that's checking papers is not like heavily scrutinizing. Gun, go, gun, go, gun, go. It's not really in depth. Well, Bear didn't realize that. He just walk right through. They get inside, they actually don't work. They work a full shift. They still work during the day. They go to the bathroom, haul up their shoes, get all the explosives out of it, and then go stash it somewhere inside the place. And then tomorrow they're going to come back and do it all over again. That's not the finish work of their shift. When time before it closes, they all go home. They go back to the hideout. They have a big party because the plant is working. But Romero is like, okay, these guys aren't checking us that heavily, and I want to hurry this shit up and blow up this munition plant because every day we're getting more ammo. You know, we need to stop that. That's the whole point of the mission. So he needs to figure out how to get more explosives in every single day because at this rate it's going to take forever. So he figures the only thing you're really left to bring into this factory is your lunch. So we need to figure out how to get more plastic explosives inside of our lunch boxes. It's literally the opposite of Johnny Cash song where he steals a Cadillac, one piece at a time, and it didn't cost him a dime. Except now Romero is smuggling in plastic explosives to blow up the entire factory. So what he does is he goes down to the grocery store, buys a baguette, a loaf of bread, helps the end off, gets a spoon, hollows out the entire loaf of bread, and just ass packs this baguette full of seafood. Go back to work the next day, checks the papers, looks in the lunchbox, oh shit, he's got a baguette, this is France, that's normal. road so we can ride there. That's exactly what he does. Starts riding his bike, pitch blackout, can't really see shit. He hears a car coming behind him, jumps in the ditch, waits for the car to pass by, comes back out, makes a couple more miles, another car coming, jumps in the ditch, hides, waits for the car to pass by, comes back out, riding his bike in the dark, can't see anything, and all of a sudden, he just runs into something. And it's a German checkpoint. He literally rode right into it because, well, that wasn't on the map. And now the Germans have a gunpoint and there's a curfew and he's not supposed to be out at this hour. So they start asking him questions. They're like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, and here is where getting in the military from the age of 19 really shoots him in the foot. And it was, well, there front door of the prison and goes back to the safe house and does not get caught. For me, he was in the safe house for like 3 days straight. The Nazis, what it looks like, they have like a hand drawing of his face. They've got walking posters all over town. They are looking for this guy. There's no way he's going to be able to get out of this safe house and get to like the next safe house to the next safe house to get breaking and extracted because the Nazis are looking at every single chapter. They are going to catch him. After like 3 or 4 days, I hang out at the safe house waiting for everything to cool down. It's not cooling down. Nobody can come up with a plan on how to smuggle his ass out of here. And then the owner of the safe house is like, these things in Greenville starting in the 70s to 90s. And it just starts with burgers. When you live with diabetes, burgers is having a craving for your life without burgers. Freestyle Humor Plus sensors track your glucose in real time, so everyone else doesn't have to. And over time, it'll help lower your A1C. Confident choices for more control of your life. This is Burgers. Learn more and try for free. Freestyle with bring-back goods.
Ice cold chocolate milk with a giant scoop of ice cream. Keep it cold.